Well, hello and welcome. I am Kate Bates, joined by Anna Russell, and we are here for week 2 of the Zwift Racing League Community Racing. It's season 3, Anna, of 21-22. We started last week with a scratch race. We're back for a team's time trial. This season, well, it started with a bit of a bang, didn't it?
It sure did. It was awesome. Last week, we had all the bike change sort of chit chat going on the socials, going on Facebook. I tried it, my first bike change, nailed it. It was great. Every time we have dirt, I'm going to change my bike. That was fantastic. But today, quite different. The TTT, I always know it's the TTT when I can see the riders on screen with the banner dropped and just all these people sitting there and not moving. And I always am like, what is going on? Yeah, it's TTT week.
Well, and Anna, congratulations. Dave Toll and I spoke about it last week, your magnanimous victory in your community racing league, thanks to, in no small part, the bike change, I reckon.
Absolutely.
So good to get a little bit. It's just nice sometimes to think, yeah, I was right about that. That's good.
Yeah, and
we will jump in and take a look. Sorry.
I had to say, it's the Roglic, no risk, no glory. I'm going with that. I love that tagline.
Ooh,
I think
like
everyone
that.
should race with that. No risks, no glory. You got to give it a shot. But yes, we are. If we have a look, though, we don't have any riders out on course yet, so we will bring those in when we've got them. Let's have a look at the map for the course tonight. Greater London Flat, 2 laps, just on 29 kilometres, 30 kilometres. Pretty flat, to be fair. This is all just going to be about how well you can structure as a team, how well you can lay down the power, how well you can stay in a draft, and hopefully a straight line. That is what's going to win the day. It's going to be pretty competitive. It's going to hurt the legs big time. But this is what we're looking at. 30K, it's going to be over in a flash, I think, Katie.
Yeah, well, I think that when you have to do 2 laps of a course like this, it's a little bit torturous because every time you struggle on that first lap, you know what is coming on the next lap. So it's only 151 vertical meters total for the whole race. Well, it says 104, but 151 with the lead in. And so actually, you know, on paper, it doesn't look like it's too challenging. But as we know, Anna, anything with a team's time trial can become an absolute monster of a race, depending on the kind of way that it is raced in the course. Now, something that we noticed last season that I think is worth mentioning at the top here is that we saw quite a different skew of results based on the individual scratch races or points races as they were, and then the team's time trial, especially in the Apac, and especially I'm looking at NZ Bro, and I'm looking at John's story in particular here, Anna, where we had such powerful athletes and they were so capable, but it took a little bit of time for them to really learn the racecraft. But when it came to the team's time trial, because it was just pure power, they were able to get a result that perhaps some of the other teams may have not been expecting. So that was pretty cool. Before the riders do get out on course, let's take a look at the video we've got this week from Sai, because he's going to take us through his thoughts. And he picked the bike swap last week, just like you did, Anna. So let's see what he's got for us this week.
Welcome to London for stage 2 of the Zwift Racing League. It's a team time trial and it's on the Greater London Flat. One of the fastest courses in game for team time trialing. 28.9 kilometres, just 150 metres of elevation on this one. 3 power-ups to look at here. We've got the aero, the draft and the feather, and it's all about communication when utilising those power-ups as a team. We've got a long lead-in, just over 5 kilometres, and it's in that lead-in at kilometre 3.5 that we have the biggest challenge, the longest drag and the incline in this course. It's 800 metres long, 5% maximum gradient. You're going to need 6 riders if you want to top that table and set some fastest times, so get all 6 riders up that climb if possible. You're going to pick up another power up when you go through the start finish banner properly here on the red roads of the Mall, and then again at the start of lap 2. Team time trial is all about maintaining speed, keeping the pace on the front as high as possible at all times. Stay efficient, have fun and ride on. Right, let's go find somewhere to watch this race.
Well,
As I'm laughing over
it's
the recording. I was kind of half listening and then half seeing the AHDRL ladies head out, and then saw the umbrella and thought, what is going on?
I did notice the rain behind him in the shot, and I thought how very accurate of the game of the game builders to put that weather into London. Well, it's good that they're out on course. We'll jump down and start following along. But also, Anna, we want to have a quick look at the leaderboards at some stage, so we can just go over what happened last week.
Absolutely.
So they did start with a scratch race, which is highly unusual, but very encouraged. It was absolutely sensational to see that happen. So we're down on course with AHDRL. We've got Corinne Dolan, of course. We love and know her for her mohawk and her incredible climbing ability. She's a very good mountain biker and has had some really impressive stand-up results over especially the last season in this league. So it's great to see her back. And I think it would be fair to say that these ladies are fairly drilled and very well organised in their approach to any racing, and certainly even more so in the team's time trial.
Oh, yeah, these AHDRL ladies definitely know what they're doing. They have been with this, this is the B category, but I think they have a lot of races in the C cat as well. I think they've got about 3 or 4 teams in there. Also, got to mention, we'll have the Smile On crew out. Got the weekly message from them to say what cocktail they were rocking. We do have the Fashion Police out in force today. AHDR, Purple Armada, always look on point. Have got to say that they look fantastic. So, yeah, great.
And by Fashion Police, you mean a meme of you. You mean a little emoji of you.
Absolutely.
Look at you with all the power, Anna Russell.
Here we go.
We also... she is.
I love it.
I am imagining that you also have a policewoman costume somewhere in your cupboard to inspire this. And we also do, we can't forget to mention that once again, we will have our 5K hero. It might be a little bit different this week. It's up to you, though. You hold the ultimate power in the 5K hero. I believe my suggestions are welcomed, but no more than that.
I would like to hear from people watching. Do we have it as a team since it's a team time trial, or is it still an individual rider? Because it's hard to pick an individual rider in a team time trial. So not quite sure how we'll swing that. But, her whole team just disappeared there. That's a little bit worrying, isn't it?
Oh, that's a bit disconcerting, isn't it?
There we go. It went straight over to, tell me, Katie, how do you say this?
Hensa Semenko.
Hensa
is
Semenko.
The name of...
Yes,
correct.
So she has let me know that I am not saying it correctly, but I hopefully will get it right now. Hensa Semenko. Look like some of the men will be heading out on course too. Not sure why in the women's race we've suddenly lost every teammate of these riders as it's going through. We'll get down to the men soon, see if we can fix whatever's happening there in that Zwift world with the women, because I'm almost certain that Hensa Semenko, there's her teammates. Her teammates are coming in, so she's not alone.
Yeah, this is
but something's going a bit strange here for that women's race.
Yes, we do appear to have some lone wolves out there, which is actually, not the case of what's actually happening. I do notice, as always, that we do have a lot of the teams putting numbers in front of their names, which is a really good way to kind of keep an order without having to think. Because I think one of the kind of broad rules for teams time trial is that if you can think this amount possible, then that is preferable, because there is an awful lot going on out there, and it's physically incredibly taxing. So if you just have a plan and are able to execute it, it can sometimes just make it a little bit easier to get on with it. But we will have to figure out what's happening where we're losing all of our avatars.
It's actually both on the men's side and the women's side. So we started here with Peter here from Masaka, who headed off with his team. It looks like some are coming back now. We can see the aero riders go off from the men's ACAT in Apac. So hopefully we can start pulling these back. It looks like it just kind of cut up for a sec. We've got the TBR women back on the women's side. So Phew, looked like it was just a little bit of an error to start off with in London town with some of those riders. So fingers crossed that they all stay with us because this looks like a very, very hot, fast-paced aero team. I'm always a little bit surprised to see Mark Bowstead in there. Kiwi guy racing for the Australian
Would
Esport
you
Racing
feel?
Organisation.
I don't feel guilty claiming Pavlova, so I'm not. I think that it's pretty normal. I mean, Mark Bowstead is our Zwift Pavlova. That's, I think, how we just need to look at it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Now, can we just look at this team? Because Nick Squalari is one of the most consistent and powerful time trialers you'll ever come across. He kind of missed his calling on the World Tour, heading into it a little bit late. In my opinion, I think that he could have probably made a very big impact on an international scene, given a little bit of timing, but he's a very big plus to have on any team. He also makes he's a podiatrist and makes custom bike shoes.
Oh, does he do the painting of them?
He does. They're very fancy. They're on Instagram. Now, I haven't seen him in about a decade, I reckon, but I follow along with the shoes and all the designs, and it looks a little bit funky town, so it's great to see him out there.
Yeah, we've actually got a woman here in New Zealand as well. She's the partner of George. Oh my gosh, his name's gone. Yes, George Bennett. And she does custom fine art bike shoes. I was actually thinking about having some commissioned for my 40th this year.
Indeed.
Some nice new bike shoes.
Old duck.
I know, isn't it? So I thought that could be a good little gift to myself. But it's kind of a thing. Have you seen that Dua Lipa got some custom bike shoes for one of her concerts?
Did she?
Yeah.
I did not. I am going to give that a red hot Google right now.
I know, she got some...
Oh, no, sorry, fellas. I am watching you and commentating on you and looking at you guys, but I'm also
But just go Google Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa. Yeah, Dua Lipa custom bike shoes.
So I do have someone highway coming in from social saying we should be giving the 5K Hero Award to an individual rider and someone who rides the best for the team, so doesn't surge too much, no hero maneuvers.
Ooh. I like that.
The ones that are in line the most. So, yes, there we go.
I like that. Now, we're going to come back to Aero because they will be one of our top teams. They took the prize last week. But can we please take a look at the Masaka team for a moment? Because they are a very, very interesting team. Anna, we've got Deepak at the moment. We know that they are going to be
in
NZ Bro, another team. Where are you, Masaka, fellas?
They were just there they are. There they are.
There they are. So it's a really interesting team. They're literally changing the lives of African cyclists, Anna. Like there's a fella in Adelaide, Ross Burridge, and he's corralled this team together. They're all African riders, and they all kind of put themselves into the spotlight of e-racing through the pandemic in the way that they're trying to develop some of the African riders. And Zwift and esports was, the least tough barrier for them to cross in able to have some access to racing. Certainly the travel costs and the coaching and stuff is a bit of a challenge for them. So it's pretty exciting to have them out on course and racing. So Masaka team, it's just really cool to have a lot of these guys. Now, it was really interesting, Anna, because they discussed that one of the challenges they have is a lot of these riders actually aren't able to read and write properly. And so even guiding them through the esports platform, teaching them how to race is a very different process than what you may have and how you may communicate in a different team. And so that it's been a really special process for these guys to all come together and to be out here racing. So a huge amount of support goes out to them and thought. It is just absolutely sensational to see the barriers that cycling can break down and give access. And it truly is wonderful to have them in the league. It's also worth remembering that there's over 400 different riders across these racing leagues in the community racing out here in the ZRL. That is a tremendous amount of riders from all around the country and all different circumstances. And so I want to shout a very big shout out to these guys, and we'll be watching them very closely.
Yeah, this is great. This is, I mean, it's just one of those awesome stories to see these teams out here. What Zwift can do just to support things like this, also just getting communities together. It's, I don't know, it's a great thing about Zwift. It's just, it can go all around the world. I just love what these guys are doing. We got an email earlier today, and it was actually the first I'd heard of it. So it was really awesome to see just the support behind this and what Zwift has been able to do. Unfortunately, it looks like they've got a rider just dropping off the back there, Peter, who will shortly be gathered up by that Aero team. You can just sort of see the Aero team off in the background. Looks like they're going to come past pretty quick under that 1 kilometre to go banner. So Aero, who's sitting at the top of the table, as you can see there, is definitely making the most of this team time trial. It's going to be interesting to see the first splits come in, to see how Aero is stacking up against NZ Bro and the Deepak Elite crew, who are sitting in second and third respectively. I'll bring in the women's feed when we can. We're having a few issues with all the riders disappearing, so we'll stay with the men for the moment. The women across London are just having a few issues, but we'll try and keep up to date through Zwift Power as well. Looking here at this team, Masaka, but with Aero coming through for the pass. Hopefully they know the etiquette here, just of slowing down a little bit, not getting on any wheels, and allowing this team to pass. But great job from Team Masaka there.
It is great. And we do know that success looks very different for Team Aero versus Team Masaka. So we will not judge them on the same metrics. Aero were exceptionally strong last week. They started, we can see those 20 points from the scratch race. And it was also really interesting, Anna, wasn't it, to see a lot of the riders come back from Premier League. So to have Sam Hill out there last week and Mark O'Brien, we kind of laughed that seeing Mark O'Brien's name on the start list would cause a lot of people to reconsider whether they actually wanted to race or not. Such a force that he is. But it has been really interesting across the board. We saw it as well in America West, which I do with Dave Toll. A similar number of riders that had come back and joined the community leagues, with Premier League being on a little bit of a vacay this time of year. So the riders have popped back into the community leagues and only strengthening it further. And I think it really keeps that momentum of development going. So it's great to see that both of the men's and the women's fields are out on course, and we will pick the women up more, of course, when their avatars are consistently coming through.
Yes, managed to find
the men's
them on course. We do.
This is good. They're all, yes.
Yeah,
Hence the Semenko's team flying past there.
I know. We've got the Raven Bees, unfortunately, just being passed here by TBW. So, yeah, that is a great job coming through from those women. Watching Maple here. Unfortunately, we've got a Rave rider jumping into the mix. She should know better not to do that. So her teammates will be saying on Discord, jump back. Don't get mixed up in that melee because we could get disqualified. So good to see the yellow jerseys going through. The Raven Bees rider dropping back as they need to. But yeah, very, very strong start here. I'll see if I can start to get some of these segment splits in, as we've got Deepak men's A on the left, and the Alien Inc. team as well that we're seeing there coming through. So very, very competitive men's field. We'll see if we can get NZ Bro up on screen. So they've only got 5 riders now, so maybe a bit of a technical issue in the pens. NZ Bro Gandalf's not starting with the 6 riders.
All right. Well, it always makes me nervous, these old technical. I can tell you what, the morning of World Championships, Esports World Championships, and it was, it was a very early hour in Australia, let me tell you that, Anna. I'm sure in the rest of the world it was a very civilised hour, not in Brisbane. But I was so nervous for the riders that I just kept triple checking that everybody was in the pen fine, that they were having no issues. And to be honest, I think it became a bit annoying, but I just thought, not today of all times. And we did actually ultimately have a little bit of technical problems within the team, within the women's team. So it is a real factor. And I think that you do have to be realistic with your plan, that you have to be a little bit agile, as you do in road, in real life, road racing, kind of expecting that these things could happen. You can't get a flat tyre in Zwift, but you certainly can get a technical dropout.
Yeah, and looking here at the women, this has been a very interesting situation that's happened. So we had the Raven Bees get passed by Tune Bikeworks, and then the Raven Bees have now repassed Tune Bikeworks, the yellow crew just behind them. So I'm not sure if Raven Bees had a bit of an issue and they waited for a teammate. But looking at these splits that are coming through, the AHDRL team, the Purple Armada, they are crushing it on the front, actually only by a second in front of TBR Smile On. And then we have the Raven Bees, this team, sitting in third, and Chicks and Nicks just behind them. So not without a little bit of controversy with these Raven Bees team coming through, getting past, and then passing again. I always like to see that.
Ooh, well, I actually thought that was not allowed in the new rules.
Hence the controversy.
Exactly. We will have to see where this lands. But my understanding and interpretation of the new rules that have been amended since prior seasons is that once you have been overtaken, that is that. We will have to see where that lands with today. I generally think that even though it's a bummer sometimes when that happens because of what may be technical issues or what have you, that you do need just a blanket rule to ensure good behaviour and good technique out there, because there is a lot of etiquette, isn't there, Anna, to overtaking in a team's time trial and when they catch. So the idea, having never actually raced a team's time trial in Zwift, I might add, but having raced plenty of
you
them
will
on the
soon,
road
right?
and
Have you?
teams pursuits. I did say I would, didn't I? Why
Yeah,
did
you've
I
got a
say
few
that?
teams offering you slots, Katie. So I think you're going to have to.
Oh no! Oh, what have I done? Is that when you overtake, the team that is being overtaken needs to just stay out of the way, not jump on the back at all, not get mixed up, just let them have a really clean overtake, understanding that they're already losing significant time.
Exactly. I do just want to say, Kim, I want to shout out here the TBR team. So they're doing really well. They're sitting in second, a second behind AHDRL at the first time check. Want to shout out to Kim Kern Stokes, who we've got up on screen. It's her birthday.
KKS.
It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday, KK.
And her round today is pina coladas. So there we go. She'll be downing those pina coladas. Maybe not right now, maybe after the race. But yeah, happy birthday, Kim. And she's gone to the front. Maybe she should get the 5K hero.
I hope that KKS didn't have a warm-up pina colada. That will not taste as nice on the way back up during your time trial, dare
That
I
would
say.
be,
I'm very
yeah,
happy.
not good.
Look, it's, again, Anna, it's ultimately your decision, but I would be very supportive of KKS for our 5K hero.
Okay.
For a birthday. So I'll throw that out. We've got still a fair few kilometres to go before we award it. As the name suggests, it is 5 kilometres to go. Oh, now this is interesting. Please skip me this rotation. Very polite. That suggests that she's struggling a bit, doesn't she? That she needs the chance to miss a turn and to sit on for another turn and see how she goes. So it's really good communication. It's absolutely the key to teams time trialing, really.
Oh, yeah. I think I talked about this in the when I was commentating one of the WTRL TTTs on a Friday. Was I think probably the worst situation in a team time trial is when you have a minimum, say in this race, you have to finish with 4 riders. Now, or is it 3? I need to relook at the rules. But whoever the minimum rider is, it's very disheartening if you are dying, but you are the last rider who must finish. And you just are looking at the clock going, oh, I actually don't know if I can do this. This is so hard. I've been in that position once, and it was a TTT where you climbed up Leith Hill. It was about a 8-minute climb or something. Halfway up, the last rider who could dropped, and I had planned on that being myself. And it was a very, very hard climb from that point on.
It is, you're right, it's a bit of a mental battle as well, isn't it, going in? Because it's never a nice position to be in where you feel like you may be the weakest link. We're looking at NZ Bro at the moment. Here's your fellas.
Got a bit of
I know you've been quite proudly watching them
Yeah, they're looking good. We've got actually my PC guru, Yoda, here. That's Aaron
Your
Bleakley.
PC Yoda. I have not forgotten that.
PC Yoda, Aaron
PC
Bleakley,
Yoda.
he's in the team. He's actually a little interesting story about Aaron Bleakley, who's have a pop on the screen, is he has been working, this is his first Zwift race in a while, so he said he might be a bit rusty, because he's been harvesting on a vineyard. He's been getting the old sav going at his Spy Valley vineyard, and he's sent a few photos through of him on the harvester with some beautiful sunrises. I don't know what time he gets on there, probably about 3 a.m, but it looks amazing down in Blenheim. So if anyone wants a nice drop of sav, go for a Spy Valley Sauvignon Blanc out of Blenheim. It's supposed to be very good.
Well, I did think that you were going to say that he'd sent across some bottles, some tasting.
Well,
the photos
I wouldn't say
though.
no if he's going to send those through.
Come on, PC Yoda, see what you can do. This is a very strong team. I love what they're doing from kind of the feeder and development perspective. It's a similar model to what we're seeing with Aero, really. Aero's a little bit older, but that every time you see one of the teams move up and progress, you actually get an incredibly strong, essentially B team come in straight away, because they have a lot of riders that are sitting in the wings and just waiting.
Yeah, it's we actually are setting up our first little esport hub down on the South Island. The smart bikes are getting delivered tomorrow, actually, and NZ Bro is going to be the sort of, what would you call it, the community arm. So if people want to get into events, they want to have a youth TTT team, NZ Bro are the people to get in touch with. And I know Aero does a similar thing. So I think these teams where they've actually got a bit of community outreach are pretty great. I know there's NZ Bro, I'll be racing on their team time trial team over the winter.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're just good crew to be involved with, good banter, good chat. It's always what I like when you're getting up really early in the morning. So yeah, it is good just to have that little community arm. Then you just have a little added bit of motivation as opposed to just racing for yourself. So cool to see NZ Bro doing that. They're sitting second now. Aero is really taking away. I mean, they are a premier team, so it is interesting to see these premier teams come and race in community. They are set the first time blistering hot 7:44, 10 seconds back NZ Bro on the 7:54, and then Deepak Elite, surprisingly, a little bit further behind. I thought they would have been a bit closer to NZ Bro, or at least Aero. Then the second Aero team, 6 seconds back, another 3 seconds, very close at the first time checks. But as I know from this course myself, so easy to go out hot, really hot, and then just have a bad, what would you call it, a positive split, where your last half is slower than your first half. So whoever can negative split this, and I know Aaron Bleakley, the PC Yoda, is very good on the strategy of these, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them claw back some time.
It is quite difficult to negative split on a course like this, but you do definitely see some of the teams being able to do it. I noticed Tabalong keeps ducking into the orange in terms of power. These guys, when they're rolling through, they're really hitting it very hard.
Yeah, they're I think they'll be aiming for, if you look at what have they got on the front there, Aaron Bleakley, about, they'll be aiming for about 400 on the front. So you can see them kind of fluctuating there with the ups and downs, but it's always kind of around that 400 mark, taking probably, I would say, 30-second turns at the front. That tends to work quite well. So you just see there, they hit the 17-minute mark. They'll have someone else going to the front. Also, with a bit of momentum, whoever sort of naturally progresses needs to use that momentum and stay on the front. A mistake that teams make sometimes is too rigidly following their team order. And if someone sort of comes through to the front, then they'll wait and say, oh, it's not your turn, and wait up, and then someone else goes, and by then you've lost you've hemorrhaged time. So really important to just keep it fluid and a bit flexible, I would say, with that planning.
Yeah, and kind of traditionally within real life teams time trials, the mark of really good form is seeing essentially a straight line, not too dissimilar to a team's pursuit, really, where they all look very neat out on the road. NZ Bro, it's an interesting one, Anna. I can only describe how they look on screen as an absolute dog's breakfast. But in saying, they do, look at them. But Zwift works differently. The drafting works differently. You don't have to be sitting directly behind somebody to get that perfect draft effect as you do in real life to really optimize it. So it's almost getting used to the visual of what it looks like to do a team's time trial in Zwift, because if you are coming from the road and you're thinking that they all need to just be in a line to be efficient, then that's actually not the best way to do it in Zwift. But I'd also say
just a sec here, Katie.
Oh,
I've got a double fashion crime here. We've got a visor and no socks. A visor and no socks in one team.
Nice.
The number of times I have told John Story to put some socks on his avatar, and he never did. John, what are you doing? This is just, I mean, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. You're not a triathlete. You're a rower. I'm sure, you must know some cycling etiquette here. This is horrific on this team. I mean, they've just lost any chance of having the 5K Hero Award. This is fashion crimes, absolutely.
Look, I think that we should probably give people the heads up that given you are, the master of both decisions regarding both Fashion Police and 5K Hero, that they are going to be intrinsically linked. And John's Story needs to get on board that if he ever wants to be the 5K hero, it needs to be about more than just the amount of watts he is putting out. That is definitely for sure. But they're so powerful. I feel like perhaps that negates the visor and socks. I don't know.
Nothing negates it. Nothing. There's nothing that'll make that better.
Despite looking like a dog's breakfast, they're going very fast, and I think it will be quite tight. Certainly, it'll be interesting to see the halfway mark split. We haven't seen that come up yet, but also toward the three-quarter split and where they are with aero and whether they have anything more.
Exactly, yeah. And looking at AHDRL here too on the women's side, they are doing very well. We've had some of their splits come in, so we'll get those up on screen. But I just thought this shot looked really nice. Them kind of heading into the sort of, you'd call it a pea soup of London, just with the light sort of cloud around, coming around the left-hand hairpin here, and then they'll go past Buckingham Palace. Always love this part of the course, so I like following it. Just on the mall with the sort of, have you been there, Katie, before with the sort of red gravelly? And I just think it's so nice.
I have, although I've been there, but I've not ridden my bike along there, interestingly, because they didn't have any of those big events when I was still racing. They do have, they haven't had Ride London since COVID, I don't think, but the Tour of Britain, I'm sure, will head back to London one of these days and perhaps go around this iconic course again.
They're looking very good, HD. Oh, actually, I was actually saying they look very good, but they've fallen back to second there. So
I was saying they were looking good, but actually
they have fallen back. So this is what I was talking about. It's very easy to do this first part of the course quite fast. They set a time of 9:21. TBR Smile On was 9:22, so it was very close. But now TBR Smile On set 21:07, and this AHDRL crew almost 20 seconds behind that. So yeah, this is quite a change at the top here. I just hope they don't lose too much more time, because they've got Raven Bees kind of catching up a little bit as well, who are 20 seconds behind them. Yeah, it's unfortunate for them. I think TBR maybe just has paced this a bit better.
Well, Mel Fung was sensational last week, and I'm not sure that she would be loving the team time trial scenario. Physiologically, it's probably not her strength, even though she's proven to be fairly mentally resilient in terms of racing and coming back and fighting over some little climbs. But you're right, the fight from TBR is pretty impressive. Maybe it's because it's KKS's birthday and they're like, come on now, let's get it for her. But they're certainly making up some quite significant time on AHDRL now. So a bit of an interesting turn of affairs. What will be, I think, the most interesting is if they actually start to catch them.
Yeah.
29 and if we
seconds
start seeing
back.
them come up. Yeah, so that's getting closer and closer. Since we even started talking about it, it's dropped by about 2 or 3 seconds. So I think that is on the cards now. That is probably what TBR are really pushing for.
And it's always so motivating when you're that team behind. So TBR dropping now down to 28 seconds. When you see that time coming down, and then you'll start to, if you're within 10 seconds, you'll see them in front of you. And that's just so motivating when you're out there racing. So it'd be good to see TBR come through and, we'll have a bit of a fight on our hands. We've only got 10 kilometers to go. So 2/3 of the way through this race, like I said, it's pretty flat. So not a whole lot technically that's too hard for the teams out there. It's really just been able to throw down the power for a long period of time, suffer with your teammates. AHDR is looking pretty good here with their straight line format. There's a few little sort of very gradual ups and downs. I'll hit this long downhill here where they can hopefully recover. A good piece of advice I got is don't push the downhills when you're doing the TTT. This is your time to recover. It's there's no point sort of really pushing on the pedals and staying in your order. Everyone just bunch up and chill out, and that's when you'll get a little bit of recovery, and then you start pushing again on the flats and the uphills. So that was a good bit of advice I got, because sometimes you're just in the mode and you just start pushing on everything. And also, actually, this is a question maybe for the people watching as well. Who puts their trainer difficulty down to 0 for the team time trial? Something I'd be intrigued to know, because that basically flattens out the whole course, and then you can sort of stick to power. But it's going to be hard in a team who don't do that, because you're going to be sort of going a bit all over the show on the ups and downs.
Well, you'd need to be consistent on that. That would have to be a team direction where they decided that was what they wanted to do. And you would only want to go against that if that was just absolutely your style of riding and what you did on every occasion. So to not do it would be kind of a big deal. But you're right, it does completely change the feel of the course and turns a lot of courses into far flatter, less resistant. Although, I mean, you look at your speed and you're not actually, it might feel the same, but it doesn't mean you're going any faster. And on those occasions, I always find myself when the trainer difficulty is really low and I'm actually changing gears, which I think is a less ideal way to regulate it in this kind of event. So over in the men, also interesting, Aero still look to be the dominant force there, but it looks like Deepak are actually rallying a little bit from that earlier split. So we've got Sam Lindsay in there. It's nice to have him back on board. He's certainly one of the big names. And Ed Morgan, Fabian Devola, they've certainly got some big hitters.
Oh, someone's hurting. But as we see Sam Lindsay take it to the front, always like this team. They always look pretty good. They're pretty fast with their always. They're a sort of a what's the word? They've been around Apac for a very long time. These names are very familiar to us. Firminger, Devola, Campagnoni, Morgan, Pacheco, and Lindsay, of course, sitting there off the front. I'm just seeing Sam Hill, unfortunately, sitting at 0 watts per kg. You can just see a little bit further up the road.
Yes.
It looks like a technical issue.
Yes.
They did say, I see someone has come into chat to say that Aero did have a technical right on the start, and that makes me think it was Sam Hill, and it's probably because they're coming around for their... Probably past him. He's probably still sitting on the start pens, which is really unfortunate. Never want to see that.
That's
but
frustrating.
Yeah, it's not so close at the top anymore. At the second time sheet, we have Aero still out in front with about 20 seconds back, NZ Bro. Deepak Elite, another 7 seconds behind them. So great racing from NZ Bro. Wes World Elite Zwifting Sharks, they're sitting at 18:16. And then 18:28. So it's kind of, it looks like even there between Aero Masters and Team ZWC. But other than that, it's pretty spread out, I've got to say. Not a huge tight battle.
Well, now, interestingly, what do you think, Anna, when they make these public comments like, oh, I'm hurting or whatever, do you think they mean to make them public? Or do you think that just in the efforts, they're just typing in what it, because I have definitely done that. Like I've meant to message a rider or a group, and it's ended up, popping up on screen, and I thought, oops, sweaty fingers, high heart rate. That's not the ideal outcome.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, because, do you think that when you're racing and you see another team talking about how much they're struggling, do you take it as them kind of, bluffing, or do you think like, oopsie, I bet they didn't mean to put that public?
Okay, so I've got a real,
not even notice?
I've got an interesting story about this. I feel like it's a bit controversial, but anyways, during the
Well, we
time,
like controversy here.
yeah, during the time we were in the first, heavy worldwide lockdown, there are a lot of pro women who came and started doing some of the racing that I was doing, just because their teams were doing them, and there was a lot of on-screen trash talk. So much so, actually, that I had to message one of them and just say, "Hey, we're all kind of doing this for a bit of fun. Let's just, chill out." So there, I think sometimes it is a little way to psych out your team. In this case, it was always a rider saying, if you're going on a really hard effort up a climb, saying things like, "My heart rate is really low today. I'm feeling really good." Like just on-screen banter like that when you're hurting is just really demoralizing.
It is, yeah. That's
Yeah.
like trash talk right
Yeah.
there. It's like when you see the sprinters on the start line of a track sprint and they like stare at each other and you're like, ooh,
I know.
intimidating.
It
That's
felt
like
like
the
that.
kind
Yeah.
of the Zwift equivalent.
Yeah.
I'm not into that. I'm not sure I'm into that, to be
No, I
honest.
just wasn't into it on the Zwift thing. Although I did do my first messaging on screen for a long time last week because I broke away with another girl, and I actually needed to work with her, and she wasn't on my team. I couldn't just chat to her on Discord, so I did put up on screen, "Let's do some turn taking." Gotta say, she took the majority of the turns, but yeah, it was it was just because we had to work together. So. Yeah, I think, who knows, especially in a team time trial, sometimes I wonder if maybe their Discord's not working or something like that, so they've got to chat amongst themselves and that has to be on screen. So, yeah, it can be a bit awkward.
Well, I do think it is an interesting kind of dynamic where you get to even throw that out. Like it's in no other circumstance would people be able to use that as a tool to get any performance advantage or perhaps psych people out. But I do generally tend to think that if you are thinking about kind of trash talk or putting people off by words and what you're typing, then you should probably pay a little bit more attention to your riding and ride a little bit harder.
Exactly.
Because when I'm on the limit, I am certainly not typing any kind of coherent messages. Is fair to say.
Someone's just coming into chat saying, "That was me, Anna." Oh, I don't
Oh,
know who. I don't know what she's referring to. It definitely wasn't you who was doing the trash talking. So, yeah, I'm not sure. But we are.
have we just made? No, and by we I mean you. Have you just made this controversy much worse?
Have I?
This is like.
Oh.
Do I need to put the popcorn in the microwave?
Oh, wow. No, it does it. And then she said, "And you beat me in the line." Oh, man. I'm really intrigued. I really want to know what race she's referring to. Maybe there was another race with trash talking. Gosh, who knows? Maybe too much. I don't know if I saw that one, Katie, who's coming into chat. I think that was, maybe I was seeing read too much on that one. But, bum, bum, bum.
Glad you're keeping an eye on the kilometres.
I actually have to have a little reminder sitting there on my screen to do it. 5K to go, hero. Got her up on screen. Birthday girl, Kim Kern Stokes. Got to give it to the birthday girl. And she's still up there with her team. She's still doing well. Lucy Easdale said, could we give her a shout out? Not only are we giving her the shout out, we're giving her the 5K to go hero. Awesome job, Kim. Right there till the end. You've only got about 3.5 kilometers to go. So fantastic. She's moving up. She's bridging her teammates up. Good job. Always great to see people, instead of going out for a nice birthday dinner, instead of spending it with their family, they're on Zwift with their teammates. So awesome to see, Kim.
It is. Happy birthday, Kim. It is very good to see her racing out here on her birthday, as you say. And look, let this be our birthday present to her. I feel like perhaps in the future we'll get inundated with people's birth certificates to say, my turn, on their birthdays. But,
I know. I've started something.
Deal with that if and when the wave of that comes. These ladies have ridden exceptionally well. It would have been easy to say AHDRL were the favourites for this event. but they have put significant time into them. Now, they didn't quite catch them and won't quite catch them. They've got a couple of kilometres left to go. They're at 19 seconds. Last time we checked in, they were at 30 seconds. It does finish at the 28 kilometre mark, so that's 1.5k they've got left to go, and they've still got 6 of them, so they've been just riding on point, really. And this is kind of a credit to how they've developed over the last few seasons, where each time they've been out on course for a team's time trial, they're getting much more smooth, how's my words tonight, Anna? They really are smoothing out their technique, and they're looking very comfortable and quite even application of power. While it's on screen, Anna, let's talk about the power-ups in the team's time trial. I'm just not sure about them. I mean, I'd love to hear your views on the power-ups in the team's time trial.
Oh, I actually quite like it. I think they just add a new dynamic to it, which is always nice. I think it's great. I think what we figured out as a team last time we did a team time trial is there's what I call team time trial rage, which is where you've just taken a turn, you're kind of going to the back like we see Kim here, you're kind of dying because you've just had your turn, and then someone in your team drops an arrow and pushes off the front, and you have this sort of rage going, oh, why did they do that? Or they've dropped a feather on an uphill and you just think, I need a feather, I really need a feather. So it's kind of funny. It's great for you, but for the team, I don't think we've quite nailed how to use them in a team kind of situation. I've seen a couple of teams do it well, where a rider has just, I mean, the perfect one you want is the truck, because you want to pull the truck at the back when you've just done a turn and have a really nice recovery. But it's actually, when you got the arrow or the feather, it's really hard not to get a bit ragey at your teammates when you're dying off the back.
Yes, I do think that it needs to be used in conjunction with talking to the team, unless you are at the back. Now, if you're sitting at the back and you just need a little bit of assistance to get a bit more recovery, then cool, you don't necessarily have to tell anybody about that. And when I say tell anybody, I mean like clear it with them. Say like, this is what's going to happen. You will really notice. But if you are on the front, it will quite significantly affect the other riders. And I think that really clear communication around that is necessary. Kind of the caveat around that, I would say, is that often when you most need those power-ups is when you are least capable of communicating coherently. So you have to kind of nail that and perhaps talk about it beforehand, and make sure that you go in everybody understanding everybody else.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's so long story short, I do quite like them because they just add something more fun, and I'm all about the gamification. We've got your man Monrich here. They're looking good for the ZWC team, as we see a feather being dropped by them. But just the league results. So I thought they were a little bit further up, but they're sitting in 5th at the moment, just behind Aeromasters and just ahead of NZ Bro Gandalf. They kind of were looking quite good. So I was interested to see, and we'll pull up the segments. Or the time splits, I should say.
Hold on, talking about, and we love Monrich, he's sensational, but talking about a dog's breakfast, what are they doing? I mean, maybe it's the logic where, as you said, on descents, you should just all go your own pace and then keep it going. And maybe the thought is, on climbs to a degree, you all just kind of have to do your best and hang in there a little bit. But I think these guys, I've seen them be a little bit neater. And on their own, gee, they're impressive. Like, I think especially Endo and Rich Nakagawa, these are names that we are constantly mentioning in the points races. They're jumping away, getting points, really doing an exceptional job. I wonder if this feather is responsible for that surge from Monrich, and whether he was just having to back off a little bit in order to allow those other riders to catch him, which is a perfect example of what we were just talking about, of using a power up when you're on the front.
Exactly. And I've got to say it, Katie. Again, I'm just sorry. I love the siren, but all these different, I mean, they're a team whose kit is awesome. This kit looks fantastic, but they've paired it with, we've got a no socks, a blue shoes, a yellow and green shoes, an aqua shoes, purple socks, and then no
Come on
socks.
now.
It's
What were they thinking?
this is just, I don't know if they're trolling me, but this is not team cohesiveness. I mean, maybe this is really affecting their performance as well, because they're looking around just going, what are we doing? So, yeah, ZWC, next time you're out there on the TTT, let's get some sock and shoe matching. Even like, got to say that pink little cap with the kit looks phenomenal, but then paired with some aqua and yellow shoe sock combination, not my fave.
No. Well, look, I feel as though if you were to describe what you did for a living to people and included the emoji, the fashion police emoji, they would think that you were
Crazy.
probably pulling their leg, or crazy. I think you'd probably hope that they didn't believe you more than thinking that you were crazy. But look, I don't disagree with the no sock thing. It is definitely, as you say, something we say is typical of a triathlete, although Zwift is proving us wrong. Now, these guys are coming into the finish. We've already had Aero, NZ Bro, and Deepak finish. Oh, no, sorry. Yes, they have finished. And that is the order that they have finished in thus far, because they have changed around the order. So the fastest team, or the leading team, now goes off first, which is all sorts of upside down from what we've been used to in the past. But it does mean that we tend to see the quick times come early, and then we're waiting for the other teams to try and chase it. So Team ZWC are making their way to the finish. Alien Inc. are picking up a little bit of time here.
But they're just getting passed by NZ Bro, it looks like. So Adam's there, and Alien Inc., his teammate, is way back, 30 seconds behind him. So this is the main team, but they are getting hunted by Blackie there from NZ Bro coming through at the end. They've only got about 2 kilometres to go. So NZ Bro got to pick up the pace a little bit if they want to make this pass. But this is the second NZ Bro team. This is the Gandalfs. We've got the Alien Inc. Battlers. Is that Mitch Zito? That name seems very familiar from our earlier races we've done as well. Richard Law, one of the ones we're always mentioning in the sprints. He had a great season last season, doing well for his team, looking good. They may have actually just passed their NZ Bro team, so they're gaining a lot of time. Down to 4 riders. This is just all in for the final couple of kilometres.
Well, Aero have done a tremendous job, as have Deepak, as all of these teams start to come in now. Mitch Zito, yes, we have seen quite a lot of him over the last few seasons. Richard Law, he's one of our favies. The only time I criticised his racing and said I thought he was performing a little bit below par, he then messaged on YouTube to say that he had COVID. So I ate my words very, very quickly there, but I suppose I was right that his performance was a little bit off, but understanding. So it's good to have him back in full strength, and he's certainly this season already had an impact in the scratch race starting last week. So again, it is a bit different, Anna, when the fastest team or the team leading from previous weeks goes off first, because we're used to kind of waiting for the time to get surpassed and to come in, but now that's been all turned on its head. Aero, fairly significant time gap over NZ Bro. That doesn't surprise me given the quality of the Aero team, but certainly Aero and NZ Bro are just streets above the rest in this team time trial, including Deepak. So, I think the different strengths will come out to play in the points racing, Anna. But, and here we've got Peter from Masaka. It's great to, again, have them
Not sure where the rest of the team is, but Peter here is finishing up solo. They must have already finished, and maybe he dropped a little bit earlier. Have some of the Evo crew out too. What is that? Peter Z. That is a phenomenal kit. I have not seen that in game before. Have you seen that? That looks amazing. I like
that. I haven't.
Fade?
That's fantastic.
That must be new. I've seen it.
Well, where's your alternate for the cranky fashion police? Like, where's your...
I know. I need a happy one.
I think we need to work on that.
Yeah, I need something that's a siren, but with a sort of happy face, maybe.
I'll leave that up to you, Anna.
Okay, I'll find an image for that.
Excellent.
But there, Evo's getting a little bit mixed up in there. We've got a little bit of a cacophony of pink there, just as Peter Z. I think Peter Z is coming through to pass. Got an arrow being dropped off the front there, but must be Eve. Oh, they're really getting a bit mixed up there. Someone needs to drop back.
Well, they have to be a little bit careful in this scenario. This is kind of playing out the perfect example of how we discussed this earlier in terms of etiquette for overtaking. And so both teams have to be quite conscious of what's going on. The team being overtaken needs to essentially just back off a little bit and wait. And the other team, that is where they, it gives them the opportunity to quite smoothly go past. We will have to see with the women and the Raven Bees what happens in regards to the rules of overtaking and then being re-overtaken. But this is also getting a little bit messy. It's cleared kind of now, but it didn't need to take that long to be an effective pass.
No, I think, and I had
with power up drop and moving back in for a tenth
to the mix. It's messy, isn't it?
Doing? This is going to get them disqualified.
Yeah,
and
real messy.
Dare I say, Evo are going to have their cranky pants on for this.
Oh, yeah. Not good, not good. So not sure what's happening now. I have seen some people come to chat that you can overtake and then come back again. Evo, yes, they're saying WTF. This is a bit of an issue. But
you mutter under your breath, a bit of an issue.
Yes, bit of an issue. We'll see what happens there. DQ is the call from Evo. So we are right on screen with controversy from the beginning. So yeah, interesting stuff going on here in this racing.
Well, we like Seb. He's always been a very strong rider. He's turned up a few years. Again, another team I'm just noticing that have their numbers before their names. So a little bit of order. They will not take well to this, but nor should they, to be honest. I'm not over criticising Peter Z when I say this, I think, but that was just unnecessary. If you are getting caught, then it is a massive bummer, but it is, as it is, on the track in a team's pursuit, Anna, you get caught, the gun blows, you're done, you're out.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean, even if you were riding a time that would essentially get you the second best time, that is how it works. And there's no coming back. No. You're not allowed to then stay at it, chase them and overtake again. So we might have once again, this is one of those moments, Anna, where I'm really glad I'm not on Facebook, because I know that over there right now there's some keyboard warriors getting a little bit crazy.
The things you see on some of these, I'm on the team managers page, and last week there was a message that came in that said, is the team manager for Team X on here? I just would like a quiet chat before we complain officially. I was like, ho! And then everyone just puts the gifs of someone eating popcorn. So,
yes.
That's awesome.
That's quite saucy. That's quite a throwdown. Let's take a look at results as they come through.
The results
and see what eventuated.
Taking a little time to come through, so maybe that we have to direct people off to the WTRL website to see those results come through. Can say with the men though that it looked like it was from those last segment times, Aero taking that premier team. Couple of Kiwis on there from the NZ Bro Frodo crew.
Is there not just one Kiwi on there? Are you extending that? Is it not
a
just
few Kiwis? I'm owning them. We'll own the win.
Look, Pavlovas. A few Pavlovas. Okay.
Exactly. And Deepak Elite looks like they may have then taken out third. So that's looking like it could mix up the league results. So it looks like Deepak Elite may lose or be equal now with NZ Bro on that league result. The women's segments looked like we've had some people asking how the women finished up as well. TBR Smile On, they just crushed that. They're doing very well. Good last half of that race. AHDRL Bullets also looking like they came in for second, that purple group. And the Raven Bees in third, with Chicks and Nicks coming through in fourth. So not sure if that will... might mix things up a little bit between TBR and AHDRL. So nice little battle at the top there between those two.
It is, and happy birthday again to KKS, our 5K hero. Apologies to all of those who got the fashion police out on board, but look, you have been warned. And John's story, the eyeballs are on you. If you turn up again with no socks and a visor, I think Anna might just find a way to kick you out. So, fair notice. For that, head over to WTRL.racing to check in on those full results. But as you say, Anna, it has been a really interesting week of team time trialling. Next week, we are in the Makuri Islands for Chasing the Sun. We are back to the points racing setup, and there is 5 intermediate sprints along the way, first across the line and fastest through segment. Everybody better get their sprinters' legs on for that.
I'm going to say I've reconned that course twice now. I'm going to do the bike swap again. I know we're on the TTTs this week, but looking ahead to next week, this is a course. This is a hot course, and the bike swap worked once. Let's just see if I can do it again. It's probably going to, end up in a flaming bag of trash, but what can you got to try.
Yes,
you got to try.
A flaming bag of what's that, Anna? Look, I mean, this is also notice to everybody. After we commentated last week and we saw Corinne Dolan in particular do a bike swap in 7 seconds, and your best had been 8 seconds, overnight you pretty much upskilled your work on the keys to change that and get that down to 7 seconds. It made all the difference. So everybody essentially has a week notice now that Anna has put out there that this will be the best strategy to work on that keyboard combination to get it down to 7 seconds. Anna, thank you as always for the production, and good job to all our riders. And I will see you tomorrow for America West. Anna, are you racing tomorrow morning?
Yes, I'll be doing the TTT. I'll be out on course. So, I'll see you guys in America's East.
Excellent. All right, have fun with that. I'll be sleeping. All right, we will see you next week. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great night.